My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of Amsterdam, the movie, not the place. But David O. Russell is one of those directors who I haven't seen the majority of his filmography, but the movies I have seen I do like. I think Floating with Disaster is a pretty underrated flick. I thought Silver Linings Playbook was really good, especially the performances by Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence. I like American Hustle, and I even thought Joy was pretty decent. Not as good as the other ones, but still decent enough. So when I saw the trailer for this movie, I got excited. I loved the music of I Want to Rule the World. I thought it had a very haunting feel to it. It has a stacked cast filled with lots of amazing actors and actresses. And it looked similar to American Hustle in some ways, with the size of the cast and just what kind of story would be getting told. So I was excited for this movie, but then I heard everybody hated it. Everybody called it terrible, convoluted, boring, and I was just like, you know what? Maybe I'll wait for this movie to be available online. I won't go out to the theater and see it. So it just became available online, and I have to say, yeah, like this movie is just atrocious. There's no way around it. I despised this movie. Usually, after I watch a movie, I wait an hour or two or a day or two before I review it just so I can sit with it a bit more. But I can't do that with this movie because I promise you, as soon as I press stop record, I'm going to forget everything that happened in it. It is just the most forgettable, painfully dull and boring movie I might have seen all year. And I'm glad I didn't see this in the theaters. Like, man, this is embarrassing. But let's talk about what I did like, and it's the performance of Anya Taylor-Joy. She seems to understand the movie she was in, and I think she played this character very well. And even though it's far from his best performance, I still think Christian Bale does a perfectly fine job. And that's it. That's my positives. The rest of the cast really didn't impress me all too much. Margot Robbie is very lacking here. There's nothing about her performance that stands out in any way. John David Washington, I just thought had zero charisma or charm in this movie, and I didn't buy the romance between the two of them for a single second. You've got Andre Riseborough, who I thought wasn't good. You've got Chris Rock, who just has a loud personality to him that always allows him to stand out no matter what movie he's in. I really liked him in that Saw movie that came out last year, but I don't think he was good here. He just has nothing to work with. Michael Shannon is barely in this movie, and he's not really good when he is in it. This is the second movie that I've seen this year where Michael Shannon is heavily marketed, and then you see the movie and he's just nowhere to be seen. The other one was Bullet Train. Then you've got Mike Myers, who I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know was in this movie until I was looking at the cast for my notes, and I'm just like, that was Mike Myers? Really? Like, it's nice to see him again, but he really has nothing to do. He doesn't stand out in any way. You've got Robert De Niro, who's in the movie. I think he's phoning it in here. And then you've got Taylor Swift, who has been one of those singles who's starred in a few movies, but she's never reshifted her priorities to being in movies. Like, she was in the Giver. She voiced in the Lorax. And I swear I've seen her one or two other times. And she's never been bad, but she's never been great. She's usually in just one or two scenes, and like she's just in a few scenes for this movie, and she's not bad, but not given much to do. But okay, slight spoiler warning. The scene where she dies actually made me laugh out really loud. It is just so over the top and absurd, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like I don't know, it doesn't have any bit of weight. It comes across as more comedic than anything else. And the story being told is just so unengaging. It's a convoluted mess where Taylor Swift character dies, and they're trying to get behind what happened and why, and just that simple premise gets so lost along the ways. By the end, you're just like, how did we get to this point? It's not this smooth transition. It's just it's all over the place. It's a complete disaster. And it doesn't help that so much of the setup we got in the characters is done in this extended flashback sequence, which I just found to be boring, and it just goes on for far too long. And I know David O. Russell likes to play around with structure like this. He does similar things with American Hustle, but this was just very unengaging, boring writing in the flashback sequence. I'm just like, okay, get back to the main plot. And it's just remarkably boring, like nothing interesting happens. There was not a moment in this movie where I felt anything. I never laughed, I was never engaged, I was never compelled, I was never sad, I was never angry. I was just bored. It's a very one-note movie in that regard because, man, it just... like in 2 hours and 14 minutes, it is way too long. Way too long. Like, honestly, this movie should have been at least 2 hours and 14 minutes long shorter. Like, there's not even a story here that I really care to see. Like, it's just shit. I was watching this movie, just pay attention. You've only got, what? An hour and 8 minutes left? Are you freaking kidding me? Just end. It was one of those movies. And then it turns out it's building towards Hollywood patting itself on its back for being against fascism. Congratulations, Hollywood. What a brave, unique stance that you're taking there. And you can just see how self-congratulatory it is. It feels very pandering, and just none of it works. And I'm just like, I don't care about any of these characters. I don't care about anything that happened. And it's just a piece of shit. It's a boring, atrocious disaster. Easily David O. Russell's worst movie. And you know what? I actually missed one. I've also seen Nailed, which is a terrible movie. But the first 5 minutes of that movie, I think, made me laugh. And then the rest was awful. But I would watch that again. I would watch Nailed, Accidental Love again over this movie any day of the week. I will never think about or watch this movie again. It is, yeah, it's done. Okay, I'm giving it... It's one of those movies that I'm seriously tempted to give it a 0 out of 10 to, but... I do think Anya Taylor-Joy and Christian Bale do fine enough that I'm going to reluctantly give it a 0.5 out of 10. Who knows, maybe I'll change it in a few weeks from now. I gave the Disney remake of Pinocchio a 0.5 out of 10, but after sitting with it longer, there were a lot more things I wanted to say with that movie, and I've changed my grade to 0 out of 10 for it. Like, yeah man, this movie was just... awful. Don't ever watch it. Don't be curious like I was and be like, well, everyone's saying it sucks, but maybe I'll give it a try. Just don't. I promise you, it's terrible. But what did you think of Amsterdam? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin, out.